outcast. That's all they see.
I see you.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things you missed in Avatar: The Way of Water.
Keep up, Forest Boy!
For this list, we're looking at details and references from the long-awaited Avatar sequel that you might not have picked up on. After this video, though, you'll see them. You'll also see some spoilers. Did you catch any little things while watching The Way of Water? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Actors behind the blue. We'd recommend going into The Way of Water without checking the cast list. It's more fun guessing which actors are hidden under the motion capture technology. Kiri is the teenage daughter of Sigourney Weaver's Grace Augustine. She's the spitting image of a younger, bluer Weaver. We wondered where James Cameron found an actress who shared Weaver's likeness, only to realize it's actually Weaver playing Kiri.
I hear her heartbeat. She's so close.
So what does her heartbeat sound like?
Mighty.
Cameron also reteams with Kate Winslet, although she couldn't look or sound less like Rose DeWitt Bukater as Renelle.
Teach me to ride like a man.
And chew tobacco like a man.
Renelle is married to Tonawari, played by Cliff Curtis, who ironically went from the Fire Lord in the live-action Last Airbender to being the leader of a water clan. 2 avatars, 2 elements, but we think Curtis is better utilized here.
Why do you come to us?
I just want to keep my family safe.
Number 9. Comic book tie-ins. While The Way of Water packs a lot into its 192-minute runtime, Jake Sully's narration can only cover so much.
I need you with me. And I need you to be strong.
The 3-part tie-in comic Avatar: The High Ground offers more insight into plot points that are glanced over. The comics most notably fill in the gaps between the humans' return to Pandora and the time jump early in the film. It's explored why certain Na'vi use guns now, why the Na'vi weren't better prepared for human retaliation, and Neytiri's strained relationship with Spider. The identity of Spider's mother is also revealed to be an RDA pilot named Paz Socorro. On top of that, there's more development for characters like Norm, who looks after Na'vi orphans, and background details on new characters like General Francis Ardmore. Number 8. A Sopranos Story. Speaking of Ardmore, she's played by Edie Falco, who is best known for her Emmy-winning role as Carmela Soprano.
Except in cases of demonstrable fraud, transfer of title is binding once the grantee registers the deed with the county clerk.
Falco's Sopranos roots may possess more significance than some might assume. At its core, The Way of Water is a story of family, with Jake and Neytiri torn between doing what's best for their clan and what's best for their children.
This family. Is our fortress.
Tony isn't as honorable as our Na'vi heroes, but the theme of parenthood provides an unlikely link between the Sopranos and the Sullys. James Cameron even went as far as to say, quote, "This is a family story like how The Sopranos is a family story." In addition to The Sopranos, Ardmore shares something in common with Miles Quaritch. Both love sipping coffee while operating heavy machinery.
The other thing I heard that you were a little disappointed when you first found out who you'd be playing.
Why? Well, I wanted to be blue, you know.
Oh, you want to be a blue person.
I was excited I was going to be blue and very tall, and so I didn't get either of those things.
Calling pop culture superfans everywhere. Do you love to argue with WatchMojo's top 10 ranks? Introducing WatchMojo's first and very own party game. Bring your superpowers to the table and fight for your pick to be at the top of the list. It's all the fun of the comment section, but in real life. Number 7. Significance of the Skull. Miles Quaritch is back, kind of.
Give it up, Quaritch! It's all over.
Nothing's over while I'm breathing.
I kinda hoped you'd say that.
While the first film's Quaritch died via Neytiri's arrows, his memories and personality were backed up, then uploaded to a recombinant avatar. Exploring the jungle, the recombinant Quaritch comes across the remains of his former self. He picks up his skull and crushes it, which calls a few things to mind.
Alas,
Poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio.
This imagery can be traced back to Hamlet, as the titular character reflects on poor Yorick. It's also reminiscent of another Cameron film, Terminator 2: Judgment Day, which opens with a T-800 stomping on a skull. The action of crushing the skull could symbolize Quaritch destroying what's left of his humanity, or perhaps it's a sign that this Quaritch will carve out a path different than its predecessor. Number 6. New Quaritch, same speech.
You are not in Kansas anymore. You are on Pandora, ladies and gentlemen. Respect that fact every second of every day.
When Jake Sully arrives on Pandora in the original Avatar, Quaritch delivers a speech about not being in Kansas anymore. This is, of course, a nod to James Cameron's favorite movie, The Wizard of Oz. Side note, the line is actually,
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
but that's the Mandela effect for you. When Quaritch returns as a recombinant in The Way of Water, he gets his troops pumped with a familiar line. It appears that Quaritch's speech from the first film wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing. He just recycles the same speech before every mission.
You've got to obey the rules. Pandora rules. Rule number 1.
It's nothing like an old-school safety brief to put your mind at ease.
This leads us to believe that recombinant Quaritch is going to be exactly like OG Quaritch. However, this Quaritch is more open to adapting and showing mercy. By becoming a Na'vi, he becomes more human. Number 5. Spider saving Quaritch might not have made a huge difference. Have you ever played a video game where you're presented with what seems like a difficult choice, but then you learn that the outcome would have been the same no matter what?
I'm Ricky with WatchMojo, and today I'm kinda mad because we're counting down our picks for the top 10 difficult video game choices that didn't matter.
Spider finds himself in a similar situation during the climax. With Quaritch passed out at the bottom of the ocean, Spider decides to save his sort of biological father. Even if Spider left Quaritch to drown, however, it wouldn't have changed much. The RDA still has Quaritch's personality and memories on a disk. So, if he dies again, they could just download Quaritch's mind into another recombinant. Maybe Spider's compassion will inspire Quaritch to turn over a new leaf, but we could also see him picking up his revenge mission where he left off.
You crossed a line.
Number 4. Apocalypse Now parallels.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
We love the smell of Na'vi in the morning. Kind of a missed opportunity that line isn't in The Way of Water, as it shares a few connections to Francis Ford Coppola's war epic. The opening, where humans burn the forests of Pandora, calls to mind the Vietnam trees being set ablaze in Coppola's film.
This is the end, beautiful friend.
These two stories share parallels as well, both taking place on the water. As Quaritch hunts down Sully, Captain Benjamin Willard is tasked with assassinating Colonel Walter Kurtz, who abandoned the military to live deep in the jungle.
Are you an assassin? I'm a soldier. You're neither.
On top of that, the idea for Apocalypse Now was conceived in 1967, 12 years before the film finally came to the screen. Well, Cameron spent 13 making Avatar 2 a reality. Number 3. Ending on the eyes. Avatar is about seeing things from different perspectives, or in Jake's case, a literal different pair of eyes. The film thus ends with a close-up of Jake's Na'vi eyes as his consciousness is transferred from his human body to his avatar. The Way of Water also ends with the camera zooming in on Jake's eyes, but that's not the only way the sequel's ending mirrors its predecessors. The first film sees Jake learn how to become a Na'vi, ultimately being accepted among the Amatakaya.
I see you.
I see you.
In the sequel, Jake must adapt again, this time learning the ways of the Metkaina.
If you want to live here, you have to ride.
Although Jake considers finding another home, Tonawati formally identifies the Sullys as members of the Metkaina clan. It's all connected, much like the Way of Water.
The Way of Water connects all things. Before your birth and after your death.
Number 2. A Titanic Climax.
We're gonna make it, Rose! Trust me!
Cameron's reunion with Kate Winslet isn't the only Titanic connection. In the spirit of that 1997 blockbuster, this film builds to a climax where the characters attempt to escape from a sinking vessel.
Sir! Sir, open the gate, please! Please!
Please! Help us! Please!
Please!
Bloody hell.
While nobody freezes to death like Jack, one of our young heroes, Natam, dies during the chaos. Just as the villainous Cal makes it off the Titanic alive, Quaritch will live to see another sequel.
Please, I have a child! Please, I'm all she has in the world. Go on.
Aside from these plot points, The Way of Water's third act is structured and paced much like Titanic's. How long's the climax in most movies? 15-20 minutes? In both of these Cameron films, the final hour or so is basically the climax, delivering an epic set piece that justifies the lengthy runtime. Number 1. Kiri the Messiah. Perhaps the biggest mystery we're left with is the identity of Kiri's father. Based on everything we know, though, it could be that Kiri wasn't conceived the old-fashioned way.
I'm with her, Drake. She's real.
Before passing in the previous film, Grace tells Jake that she's with Awa. Not long after, Grace's avatar gives birth to Kiri, who can feel Awa and has a special connection to Pandora.
Dad, I know you think I'm crazy.
I have to lie in those big rocks.
But I feel her.
It's possible that Awa gave Kiri life through Grace, calling certain religious figures to mind. Future films could see Kiri develop into a messiah, liberating her people from those who've taken their land. Kiri's near-death experience also might be hinting at a sacrifice she'll eventually have to make. For now, Kiri is still growing, with her first swim being something of a baptism. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.